Another Cloud 2 classic.
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the NECC for some more Monday Night Valorant action. I am Kairo, one of your casters for this evening, joined by the wonderful Hazza. How are you feeling in this? Well, for us, fine Monday night, but maybe it's Monday afternoon kind of for these American viewers.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm having a fantastic evening, and it's only going to get better. We've got a great best of three lined up for you guys from the Emergents Navy bracket of the NECC tournament. So I think it's week 7 at this point in time in terms of the competition. So, we've got on quite a while. These teams are starting to build their way along and really get a feel for where they're at this point in time. So, 2 teams coming up against each other today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Hazza, we will need to introduce those teams. We'll get the first team up very shortly with that roster in tow. But with that being said, Hazza, I mean, as we start to get through in towards the nitty-gritty, I don't know if it's quite week 7. I think it might be earlier. I'm not too sure. Maybe you know better than I. But with that being said, I mean, what do you expect here? Do you see more defined teams, more defined strategy to come through?
I think so, right? I think at this point in the tournament, teams get a feel for where they're playing at. So the top teams towards the upper end of the groups will be feeling comfortable. You know, it's just another day in the office, firing range kind of vibes. You just go in there, do the job, and sort it out, right? But then there are always those teams that are struggling towards the lower end that want to make it towards playoffs, that really need results to get over the line. So it's a tougher test for them, but for the most part, I think these guys are going to understand what's at stake, basically, because as the weeks go on and as things start to drag on, you run out of games, basically, to get points on the board. So you got to do it at some point, and I mean, today is, just as any day, a great opportunity to do so.
Yeah, it certainly is. And well, Hazza, I think we are going to get Southwestern Michigan College, their roster up first to see exactly what they are like as they just come up on our screen very shortly. Yep, here we go. Like that, like magic almost here. I think this is that. We've got Need Batteries, Prod G, Elo, Oasis, and the Red Priest. Hazza, you're the one with all the notes about these players. Tell me, what information have you got for us?
Well, I mean, not much to put me on the spot there.
Oh, sorry,
but, you know, we have a good lineup of players here for University of South Alabama Esports. Yeah, they've not had the best run so far, but you know, this is a great opportunity against Purdue White. I think a side that we saw a little bit of before in the tournament, a pretty good side in their own right. Purdue as a university have been pretty good across the board, so it won't be the easiest of games. But if you look at the lineup here, we have a mixture of freshmen, juniors, and sophomores, so it's not going to be necessarily the youngest of lineups, but you know, experience will help a lot, and I think they'll be looking to players like Need Batteries, for example, the captain, mechanical engineering student, to engineer them some kind of a win this evening.
I mean, I got to give a shout out. The Red Priest, what a name! That's so so kind of ominous. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's how you spell priest, but you know, shout out to them as well, I guess.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see how. Well, I'm hoping that they do well in this next game. But with that being said, we'll move on to Purdue White, and we'll see exactly who they've got in store. I'm loving this. It's straight on the button right there. We've got Spider, Melee, Fuda, Kelly, and Smasher. What are you thinking here?
I mean, look at the players all across the board. Most of them are doing computer-related subjects. We've got computer engineering, computer science, cybersecurity, statistics. I mean, if they've got their heads screwed on, then this could be a real tough test. Seniors for the majority of the board, essentially. So a much more mature team with plenty of experience, I suppose. It will be a tough test for SMU to come up against here. These are players with some pedigree, so yeah, definitely going to be one to beat.
Yep, exactly. It certainly is. And just to give you guys a little bit of information on these two teams, both teams have went 0-3 so far in this current season, Hazza. So that's going to be a bit of a bottom of the table scrap, something that you're used to watching Norwich. So with that being said, sorry, I had to get the dig in there.
What?
I was saying
but yeah.
I was just saying I just had to get that dig in there.
Yeah, of course, man. No, as you said, right, it is going to be two teams that are 0-3, so both of them need to try and find that first win, right? I think context is very important. I personally had assumed that Purdue White were doing a little bit better than they are currently putting the numbers up for, but it will be a young versus kind of dynamic, I suppose, between the two sides as we're going into this first map of Haven. Not too sure what the other vetoes were, but this will be the first map that we're going to be getting this evening. Going straight in, SMU already fully locking in that composition, so it's looking fairly standard across the board. Raze is an interesting pickup for the Red Priest, I believe, so yeah, for the most part, Astra is the key one to note there. That's a must pick always. I would agree the same with a Jet, but you know, Jet is missing because we have picked up Raze here, and I can't even say that the defender-sided comp is more meta because we've actually picked up a Phoenix in the hands of Kelly. Not the craziest of choices to be going for, but I have to say it does stray away from a lot of what we have seen recently.
Yeah, it really is, and has another interesting kind of marker is the fact that, well, when we look at this, we're not getting a double initiator comp. There is actually only one Sky on the side of the attackers, and well, a Sova on the side of the defenders. What do you make of that? Do you think Haven requires that double initiator?
I think it's definitely good to be taking a lot of proactive information on this map, especially with how much territory there is as a whole and all of the different sight lines that can be really key in making good executes or selling fakes across the 3 bomb sites. Having multiple initiators just adds to the amount that you're able to scalp from your opposition. Only having one will inherently limit that. However, Raze having a boombot as well will somewhat relieve that discrepancy potentially. And Phoenix on the flip side, if you're able to get the run it back up and running, you know, more often than not, you're going to be able to use that to go for some information plays and get a little bit more aggressive. And it looks like that might be what we see towards mid as both of those duelists look to take that early duel against the chamber player.
They really are, but look at this, Hazza. The aggression is actually coming through on towards C here. Already initial gunfights coming out. Shocked up, trying to leave. The Trailblazer actually gets that key information onto the Astra. It doesn't matter though, because look at the defenders. They're perfect. They're almost perfect. As Need Batteries does get one. Elo left all the way out on towards Long will get picked up. A very quick round, but not the way you'd expect. It's for the defenders.
Yeah, I mean, the defenders, once they came in and the cavalry arrived, it was just an absolute meat grinder on the A site there, taking all of those players out very swiftly. Kelly and Smasher took that initial fight towards mid, weren't able to find anything. Elo, eventually, that chamber player, was the one that backed up, and it was left on their sole shoulders to try and find anything from a round which was already lost. So now going into the second round, these defenders are going to want to just try and keep it clean for the most part. A couple of marshals in play can be a very potent weapon, and just like that, Spider will find the opener.
A lovely, lovely info dart there just to kind of gain the key information. That first pick's probably huge because that's the chamber gone, that's the trademarks gone, potentially flank watch gone. A couple of bullets are being fired off as warning shots almost here, Hazza, and it seems as if the attackers are leaning towards B, but I mean those shots will probably say no, don't do it.
Yeah, Kelly with a bit of an overstep there, but no punish whatsoever. Actually, it's Fudar that finds a trade, eventually taken away by Oasis, and well, the defenders are going to want to be careful here so they don't lose out on some of these guns. Kelly eventually just peeks out, and well, there you go. Clean as you like. Only one casualty in the end, as it is a swift cleanup duty from that Phoenix player who's putting up good stats so far. And well, if you look at that run it back, only a couple of ultimate points away. By the time we get into this first gun round, we could potentially be seeing the first ultimate used of the series so far.
Oh, that'll be an interesting one. But Hazza, I mean, that last round, the fact it was so dominant for the defenders, that's probably because in that first round, the attackers never got the spike down. They couldn't force at least one SMG, and well, now it's rifles against probably, I mean, some pretty good weapons here as we see lots of Marshals, lots of Spectres, lovely util work there by the attackers to actually remove Smasher C. And with that being said, a heavy leniency towards A right now.
4 players stacked up. There's still a couple leaning towards mid. Well, actually, Prodigy is going to get taken out here. Red Priest can collect that Vandal for themselves, but, well, actually, they're just going to take a bullet to the dome as well. Completely taken out. And like you said, those Marshals are doing great work in the early round to shut down a couple of these players. Duelist and Initiator off the board already, so very limited for options right now.
Well, at least the good thing is that we do have those trademarks to kind of watch the Sova, sorry, the Sova? No, there's no Sova there. To watch these defenders' backs as they start to move towards the sea. There's only one player on site, but it is Kelly Hazza, and we've seen how good they can be with the Spectre. They're walking through. Look at this lovely flash to come out. Spider takes out Oasis. Need Barry's left. Well played by the defenders here.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe a little bit early on, I was questioning the choice of picking up a Phoenix into this matchup, but, well, Kelly's showing how good Phoenix can be on this map specifically, Haven. Lots of close corners towards the garage position, double doors, different angles where you can try and use those curveball flashes to really have great impact. I think one of the reasons why Phoenix is so lacking is simply because, for the most part, Sky is able to bring forward utility that Phoenix can't, and that's why we see her fall into the lineup the majority of the time instead. But good use of that so far, and what more great utility towards that long position. Another recon bolt will search out these players. Smasher C unable to capitalize just yet, but it's that similar situation. 4 players pushed up towards mid, and Kelly's going charging in.
Yes, but they run it back as well. Has a nice double kill, but will he have enough to get that third? No. Need Barry's will shut them down, but not before Spider pops out. A nice kind of double, well, I guess kind of double entry style into the attacker spawn. The attackers just really not getting a chance to take a breath here as they're forced, funneled towards A, where look at this, Melly's just waiting. The RGX Vandal fires off, gets one, and Smasher C gets the second. Flawless for these defenders. I mean, the attackers were on the lower buy, but you can't help but say the plays were perfect.
Yeah, and well, you know what? Coming into this, both teams 0-3. One of them will be walking away with their first points, and the other left to go 0-4. The score right now reads the exact same, and well, it seems like this defending side at the moment are looking not like a team really that haven't won a game yet at this point in time, Kairo. They're looking very strong early on.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly's still putting up an 8 KD, and well, only 3 across the board for these players. You would think potentially with the setup starting on that more favourable side, they'd be able to at least have a bit more luck, but nothing of the sort just yet. Smasher C failing to connect the first orb shot, but isn't going to miss the second or the third.
That's beautiful there stuff. Spider coming out, the Oasis, sorry, they're going to be able to trade it, but there's only 2 attackers left. Oasis is vulnerable, but actually downs the op. This is a winnable position here. Will heal themselves up, need batteries, does have that kind of larger shield as well. It's not been damaged. The wall will go down. The plant going to be initiated. Slow up to actually slow people down. Oasis on a triple. Can they pick up food? The things have really started to slow down as we are in the post plant, and these last 2 remaining players on the defender side need to actually somehow assault in towards the site.
Fudar's already pushed up a little bit, gets a tag onto that mirror pick Astra player. Need batteries, could do with a couple of batteries here. That HP par being the lowest of the 3, but after we see the res come through, it's going to be a tough task. They need to flush this player out, and it needs to happen now. The time is ticking down. They're not even going to be able to do it. A headshot is there to greet them at the back of the site, and the attackers get that first round on the board. The perfect response to their worries early on.
I like the fact that they invested the res Hazza because they really needed to get that 1 round on the board. I mean, this is the thing, when the way that the things are going, I mean, these attackers really were struggling to get a foothold, and I mean, what better way than to just invest an ultimate, get it done, get it over the finish line, 4-1 the scoreline, doing a bit of damage to the economy. There isn't going to be an operator scaring them towards C long either, but it looks as if that Jet's ready to run it down already. You see Smasher C walking down C long.
Good early territory taken by the Jet player. There will be a trademark waiting for them as a couple of shots are traded towards the mid position. It's been a favourite place right now for these SMU players, and as they're grouped up, Oasis just trying to find something, and well, right now I feel like there's been a distinct lack of entry work for these players. They were able to pick up the previous round, but not after some good damage was done initially, and it was by Smasher C. They've only gone and matched those efforts. It'll be a double early on, eventually finds a response from Prod DG, but too little too late maybe?
Potentially, but just as we see that, Hazza, that's a trade. Now we're at 3-3 in the man count in this round. 50 seconds left, and there's still not been a site committed. Seekers going out. Actually, this is great information, is where these attackers need to go. Where will they pick? Seems as if they're going to go actually towards A due to where the Seekers are going. They know there's at least one player on towards C, and here we go. It seems as if the kind of
30 seconds left.
expedition will go on towards A. Nobody on the site, and these players are coming in from CT.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to get the plant down here. Those shock darts coming in, made vulnerable off of the gravity. Well, it could be huge, but no! Prod DG just sprays them all down one by one. Not too sure how they were able to get that heaven pick. Maybe, I think there was a little bit of an overexposed there from the Sova player. Of Melly, and yeah, it looks like we're going to be going into a quick pause. Not too sure if there are any technical issues on either side, but second successive round on the board now for SMU, looking a lot better than they had been initially. Still struggling with those first bloods actually. Smasher C has been doing great work so far on the Jet. I just think maybe Purdue are slightly lacking in the mid-round. Once they get that early advantage, they squander it. They're not setting up as effectively when they know they have the numbers advantage, and it's come back to bite them.
I mean, see, the thing is, though, we were watching that Jet push down. Well, on the map, we were watching the Jet push down Smasher C, getting those initial picks, but still wanted to hold that position. I mean, it's not a bad idea when you've got that map control, but maybe better just to drop off, kind of actually keep that advantage and put it in towards the pocket. I guess at the end of the day, though, the way these two teams are lining up against one another, they're just, I don't know, it seems as if there is one team that's inherently better at the moment, just the way that the sides are playing out, but it seems as if somehow SMC or SMU are just dragging themselves back into this one.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think for the most part, this map is one that would, I mean, inherently lend itself to the attacker's side, but just because of the sheer amount of fake potential that you have with 3 sites across the map, the amount of space that you're able to take if done correctly, a lot of the time it is just about the different positions that you decide to split those players up upon. Smasher C smashing their way down C on that occasion does open things up for their team, but is eventually punished. For the most part, it's going to be about SMU holding a good default, trying to find those gaps where they can, like on C long, for example, in that round, and punishing them accordingly. Eventually, the rotate did come in towards A, and the site was left gaping open, with only 3 players left to defend the rest of the map. You have to invest your resources one place or another. It's always going to be slightly top heavy, whichever way you look at it, and unfortunately for them, they just get completely wiped on that occasion. Prod DG also showing what they're capable of. I don't think we can write either of these teams out off just yet in the opening stages, of course. It's just going to be how this first half kind of goes, who it will lend itself to a bit more. I think I need to have a bit more of a think about how these compositions are going to work. But right now, I think Kelly on the Phoenix as well certainly has potential to keep being oppressive in the way that they're setting up.
I think as well, on top of that, we've also got to think of the fact that on the kind of attackers side of things, they are getting into sight. I mean, the thing is, though, is maybe just coming down to those gunfights. We are expecting at the half to have an attacker kind of sided thing. Has your camera a little bit delayed? I think we are going to, I think just to the way things are going just now, we are going to go for a quick pause here just now, and we will be back very shortly.